I get asked all the time about what tools I use to invest and to research investments, and with literally thousands of tools out there, it can be hard to know where to start. So in this video, we're going to be looking at 7 of my top investing resources. These are tools that I use on a daily basis, and some of them are completely free. So let's dig in. Resource number 1 is one of the first tools I ever started using when I began my investment journey, and that's Yahoo Finance. This is a completely free tool, and it's a pretty good way to start looking at some potential investments. For example, if we come up here to the search bar and I plug in stock ticker KO to look at the Coca-Cola company, we can see we're going to get some general information surrounding the company, like what they're currently trading at. We can see their previous close, their open price, things like the 52-week range, and then of course, I want to look at the dividend metrics. We can see how much they pay out and what the starting dividend yield is. And then of course, we can see how they've traded over different periods of time. Now, overall, I like Yahoo Finance for complete beginners because you can start to see some general information, but overall, it's pretty limited. For example, if we want to look at financial statements, we can click on the financials right here and scroll down, but you can see they only have a few years of financial data unless you pay. Now, Yahoo Finance actually had a rebrand, so if I scroll up, you can see right here, try the new Yahoo Finance. So if I click here, it's going to look pretty different. It's a pretty different interface, but overall, not too much has changed. If we go back to the summary tab, we can see pretty much the same information we were just looking at. So again, this can be a good place to start if you're a complete beginner just looking for very basic information. Now, investment resource number 2 is pretty much Yahoo Finance on steroids. This is one of my favorite platforms, and that's Seeking Alpha. I've been using this for years now, and there's a lot of different reasons that Seeking Alpha is so powerful. Now, yes, I can do things like create a stock watch list. For example, we can see I built out a stock watch list right here for a lot of stocks that I like to keep up with, but most importantly, I can get a lot of in-depth insights into the stocks I'm interested in. So for example, if we look at Microsoft, yes, we can see basic information on the summary tab, just like we saw in Yahoo Finance, but we can see a lot more details here. So for example, I can look at a lot more dividend metrics here. I can dig in deeply to the dividend yield metrics. If I scroll down, I can see the historical dividend yield and how it's changed. Things like dividend yield on cost. Of course, I also want to see dividend growth, and then I can get very in-depth dividend safety metrics. The same is true with dividend history. I can see what those dividend payouts look like and if they've been growing over the past few years. There's tons of other features we can quickly see at a glance. For example, I can see valuation metrics, I can see a bunch of different growth metrics, but one of my favorite things to do is the charting tab here. So for example, we can see Microsoft compared to the S&P 500. But we can actually chart out tons of different metrics. So if I click on select metrics, I could see things like debt, if I wanted to see how their debt was changing over time, or how their dividends were changing over time, or even their valuation. And I can always compare this to other companies as well. So right now it's compared to the S&P 500, but what if we want to compare it to a different company? Maybe we want to compare it to something like Apple. All I have to do is type in the stock ticker and click on update chart. And now we can see Microsoft, the S&P 500, and Apple over a 3-year time period. If we click over here on financials, we can get a lot more information on the income statements, balance sheet, statement of cash flows, as we can see right here, and I think the format looks quite a bit cleaner. Now, to be fair, I do have Seeking Alpha Premium. This is the paid version of Seeking Alpha, but I believe it's absolutely worth it. I've been paying for it for years, and the price now is actually even cheaper than when I originally started using it. So I think it's a pretty good value. And then of course, Seeking Alpha is very good with bringing breaking news to you. For example, if we scroll down, we can see all the latest news surrounding Microsoft right here, but then we also have people who are posting their own analysis on Microsoft. So it's nice to be able to get other opinions and insights into the company. I have a link to Seeking Alpha in the description if you want a discount. Investing resource number 3 is actually one that I just started using recently, but it's a place where I can buy and sell stocks, and that's Interactive Brokers. Now, the reason I originally found this company is because I started potentially looking at some international investments, but I noticed my personal broker at the time didn't really offer a lot of options when it came to buying and selling stocks internationally, but Interactive Brokers fixes that problem. This broker has every single feature that I could personally want, and I can pretty much buy stocks and sell them anywhere in the world. And for most accounts, it's completely free. Investing resource number 4 is an interesting one because we're looking at the website right now and it's Dataroma, and at first glance, this doesn't look like a good website. We can see there's advertisements everywhere, and the website layout really isn't too impressive. But they provide some really good data that I actually think is very helpful. And what they provide is insights into super investors' portfolio. Now, a super investor is any investor with a portfolio with over 100 million in assets under management. And it gives us updates every quarter on the moves they're making in their portfolio. So for example, we can see an entire list right here. Here's Warren Buffett. If I click on Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, close out of this ad and scroll down, we can see all the moves he's been making in his portfolio as of his most recent 13F filing. So for example, we can see he greatly reduced his Apple position in the most recent filing, and we can see a list of all of his holdings and how much it makes up in his portfolio. So right now, Apple is 30% of his portfolio. We can see all of his other holdings, and if we click on activity, we can see all the trading activity over the past few quarters for Warren Buffett. So again, they have this information for tons of super investors, so you can quickly see how this is pretty valuable information. Our fifth investing resource is Ticker Data. Now, obviously, I'm a little bit biased because this is a platform that I've been building over the past few years, but it's something I've been looking for a very long time, and I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for, so this is why I built Ticker Data. So basically, Ticker Data is a way to automatically import stock financials straight into your spreadsheet, and what this has allowed me to do is build some extremely powerful spreadsheets. So now I can pretty much build a dashboard of whatever I want and see any of the metrics that I want all in one place. That's something I've never been able to do before. So for example, I've never found a platform online that allows me to see all the different dividend metrics in one place that I'd personally like to see. For example, I like to see free cash flow versus the dividends being paid out. Dividends are paid out of free cash flow, so it's obvious to see why I'd want to see that, but no other platforms really provide that the way I'd like to see it. I want to see things like free cash flow payout ratio over time. I want to see how the dividend's growing and how the free cash flow is growing. I want to see payout ratios, the history of dividend payments, and of course the starting dividend yield. And with Ticker Data, I can see this all in one place. So for example, if I come up here and let's say that I want to look at a stock like Coca-Cola again, I'll plug in the stock ticker and hit enter, and you can see all the data is going to automatically load in. And if we go over to tickerdata.com, we can see a list of all the different metrics we can pull straight into our spreadsheet. So for example, if I click on Ticker Data attributes and click on income statement metrics, here's a list of all the different metrics we can pull in straight into our spreadsheet from the income statement. We can see all the metrics for the statement of cash flows. The same is true for a balance sheet. And then of course, we have tons of key metrics that we can pull straight into our spreadsheet. So for example, maybe I want to look at something like return on invested capital, a very important metric. I want to pull this straight into my spreadsheet. If we pull back over to my spreadsheet, let's go ahead and zoom in down here. In order to pull this into my spreadsheet, all I need to do is do equals Ticker Data. I'll select the stock that I want to look at, and I'll say Coca-Cola, add a comma, and I want to look at return on invested capital. So I'll plug in ROIC, and let's say I want to know what this was back in 2020. I'll plug in 2020 here and hit enter, and you can see Coca-Cola's 2020 return on invested capital will automatically load straight into my spreadsheet. Maybe I want to look at a different metric. I can easily change that by coming up here and changing it to revenue. Again, we can see this data will automatically load in, but we can take it even a step further if we wanted to. I can add a comma, and let's say I want to know what revenue was in Q3 of 2020. I'll just type in Q3 up here and hit enter. And again, that data will automatically load in. And one of the best parts about Ticker Data is it works with over 70,000 stocks and ETFs all across the world. We have access to global exchanges all across the world, and you can see a list of this on the website. So we have places like Argentina, Australia, Austria, Belgium. I'm not going to read them all off, but again, you can go to the website and see we have exchanges from pretty much everywhere in the entire world. We also even have access to things like crypto and Forex. So Ticker Data has allowed me to build some extremely powerful spreadsheets just like the ones that you see right here. You can get a 7-day free trial at the link in the description. Our next investing resource is insiderscreener.com. Now there is a paid version of this website, but I've never actually used it, and let me show you why. I think the free version is actually really good. It basically tells us when insiders are buying or selling a certain stock. So for example, we are currently looking at Louis Vuitton. This is a company I own in my personal portfolio, and what we can see based off this chart is there is a lot of insider buying going on with this company. So that gives me a lot of confidence in this stock. We can see all these green dots are insider purchases while the red dots are a sell. So this is a great way to quickly get insights as to what insiders at a certain company are doing. For example, maybe we want to look at Bank of America, stock ticker BAC. I'll go ahead and plug that in. And what we can see is as of the past few months, there's actually been a lot of selling from insiders going on with Bank of America. That's pretty valuable information to know. And then lastly, this last resource may seem a little odd to some people, but it's actually Twitter/X. There's a very large investing and more specifically dividend investing community here on X, and it's great to exchange ideas with other people. It's also a great way to quickly get some breaking news and look at earnings reports of stocks as they announce their earnings. I personally share a lot of my quick insights here on Twitter, and I also love to share about stocks that I'm currently looking at. So if you are on the platform, I'd highly suggest you go ahead and check out the investing community because it's large and it's growing. Even if you never share your thoughts, you can still learn a lot on this platform. So overall, these are my most frequently used investing resources. I'll leave a link in the description and the pinned comment to all the resources that were mentioned today. And if you have any resources that you personally love that were not mentioned today, be sure to leave a comment down below so that I can check it out. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.